You can't hear me?
No, I can. Sorry, that was me. I had my headphones plugged in. All right, what's up, buddy?
Let's get down to the brass tacks. All right, so you're talking to people, you're talking to, is there an echo? Are we good?
I don't hear an echo, do you?
No, I'm good. All right, so let's talk about it. You're talking about Keemstar, right? Are you going to be on Keemstar's show?
Well, I'm headed to go sign a contract to be on Keemstar's new show, Lolcow Queens. Yes.
Okay. You're going to sign a contract to be on his new show. It's called Lolcow Queens. Okay. Now, are you the lolcow in this situation?
Have you not been watching the stream? Are you new?
Yes, but I'm a little new. Listen, I'm white and slow, and I'm ready to go. Listen.
Gets by this guy.
Yeah.
He's on it, boys. Fucking Anderson Cooper over here.
Listen, I try my best. I don't always do the best. But what I'm trying to understand is, so, all right, so you've worked with Destiny before, right?
Yeah.
All right. But he was kind of a dirtbag, right? Garbage, trash.
A few times, yeah, until he blacklisted me.
Yeah, he blacklisted you. Why?
He said because it was dangerous. I pointed out that him. Can you hear me? By the way, the Wi-Fi is going down.
It's going out a little bit, but I think I can hear you. It is cutting out quite a bit.
This is going to be a great interview. Who are you?
Who said that? Listen, I'm a universal broadcaster. I'm a big deal among 4 people. I've got a question for you. All right. So, first of all, I like the green look. Is that your thing? You going with the green all the time? The green, whether it's a green cardigan or a green tracksuit, that's your vibe.
Am I coming through? Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you. Can you see me?
Yeah. I'm traveling, so it might reconnect. You know, it's gonna be the Wi-Fi is gonna be iffy. You're gonna have to carry when my Wi-Fi goes down.
Gotcha. All right. So, what I wanted to know is, like, you said you can't find a man. How is that possible? You said you can't lock down a man, right?
I haven't met a guy who I'm interested in yet.
Okay, so maybe you're kind of like picky, like you have high standards. Like you might see guys and you're like, you look okay, but I'm not gonna fucking settle for this guy, right? He might look good, but he doesn't have money, right? Or he might have money and look good, but he doesn't have a good personality.
Are you suggesting yourself as a potential mate?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, sure, but listen.
Wait, hold on. Are you sincerely? Have you seen yourself in the mirror?
I don't think I suggested that I would be with you. Yes, I have seen myself in the mirror, but listen, looks aren't my forte. But that doesn't mean anything, you know. Women don't care about that necessarily. But what are you getting at? You said, have you seen yourself in a mirror? Tell me more. Tell me more.
Well, you're an overweight ginger with a Jew nose. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay. All right. Well, I figured you were going there, and you did. Listen, I can't change that.
It's not just the looks, honestly. Looks may not be your forte, but personality certainly isn't either. I mean, like, are you high right now? I mean, your interview of me is like, who are you? What?
Well, listen, I'm getting down to the brass tacks.
Your interview is, hey, what's with the green sweater? What? What the fuck?
Well, the Wi-Fi was cutting out, you know. I want to know,
Nah, don't blame it on the Wi-Fi, dude. Come on. Napsy, thank you for the $10. This cunt's about as useless as a fly screen in a submarine, like talking to drywall. Your
Wow.
response, sir?
I think you have some interesting people in your chat and some not so interesting people in your chat, and this happens to be the not so interesting person. Now, let me ask you, do you actually let the chat decide your opinion of people, or do you actually have like a open mind and a willingness to understand people in front of you? Are you at the whims of your chat all the time?
Yes, they're my fans. I listen to them, yes.
They're
But
your
they reflect,
fans,
they're my
sure,
fans, so what they say
but
reflects
they
what I
don't have
think.
to run the ship. They don't have to run the boat. You're the one in charge. You're the captain of the ship, you know? All right, so let's get to it. All right, fine. When you were with Jeremy, what went on? What happened? When you hung out with Jeremy, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes. Okay, well, so there's a backstory to that. So Jeremy is a 30-something-year-old guy who works in a food truck in Seattle. And I went to LA to do some streams with this guy named Darius, who is a Kick IRL streamer. And things went
Okay.
south because we were supposed to be acting out that we were in a relationship, but he actually caught feels. So I had to get the fuck out of that situation. And then it was too much to buy a plane ticket directly back home because I was in LA and I live in Rhode Island. So that's literally the exact opposite side of the country. So Jeremy offered
Okay.
that I could come up to his place in Seattle for a few days, give me some time to book a flight back, and we could hang out and go hiking and stuff, and he'd give me a place to stay. And I told him
Okay.
before I went, I said, you know, because I knew him because he also streams, but he's like ultra boy bottom of YouTube, like he's the worst. He's like 2 viewers, but he's funny sometimes. So I
Yeah.
told him like uh, I'm not into any like getting hit on. If you want to hit on me, that's totally fine. But I'm not gonna come stay with
Okay.
you if that's what it's about. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
I just went through this with this guy Darius. This has to be completely platonic, or else I'll just stay in the airport a couple days. I genuinely don't care. But I just want to let you know up front, I'm not into that. He said, don't worry about it. I'm not gonna hit on you. Don't worry about it. Just come over. I like you as a streamer. I like you and your dad. Just come over to my place for a few days. Well, it'll be totally chill, and then you can get a flight back home. So I flew up to Seattle for like $50. He picked me up from the airport. He was super nice at first. He brought me to his place, which is sort of, I think it's actually his brother's place. It's kind of like a field out in the boonies of Seattle. There's no Ubers, there's no cellular connection at all.
Okay.
Um, and he kind of lives in like a shed, but I was cool with it because I was like, I live in an RV. Like I'm not one to hate on somebody's living situation. So I met his dogs and stuff, and I went into his shed, and interestingly enough, there were no walls in the shed. It was just sheets
What?
everywhere. Well, there were walls like, you know, there were no doors. I'm sorry. There were no
Right.
doors. There were just sheets for
Right.
doors. There were walls, but there were just sheets for doors. Apparently he was like in
Jeez.
the middle of renovating the place.
Okay.
So he gave me his bedroom. He said he was going to sleep on the couch. I went in the bedroom. I fell asleep. I was absolutely exhausted. I'd spent like a week in LA. It was exhausting, streaming and everything. So the next day, I went to his brother's apartment to take a shower and do some laundry. And we streamed together on my channel. And he pulled a move where he sort of pulled me by my hips off camera, like towards him. Like he put his hand around my hips and pulled me
Whoa.
towards him. Yeah, and so at that
Really?
moment, I realized, all right, he actually is not following through on what he said here. But I was like, okay, it's not that big of a deal. Then I ended the stream. We went out back. I had a cigarette. He had some weed. And he was like, so would you ever actually like want to go on a date with me? Like we should go to a movie or something. And I was like, I don't know. And then I went for a walk. And I
Mm.
told him I needed to get some space. And I called my dad and I was like, Dad, it's happening again. This guy is, you know, he's hitting on me. I don't want to do this. Now I'm completely at his mercy. I'm staying with him. I'm in his shed in the middle of nowhere. I don't want to keep doing this. So
Oh.
little did
All
I
right.
know, and this is actually where Ava comes in. Little did I know, I checked my Instagram DMs because I was just like, I was just bored. And I had a new request from a girl named Ava. And she
Okay.
said, I had no idea who this girl was, but she said, hey, I saw that you came to Seattle. I found you through Destiny. And if you ever wanted to link up, just let me know. And I'd be happy to like meet with you because like I'm kind of a fan. And she had actually copied my YouTube bio at the time, which said something like incredibly charismatic, amazingly beautiful, insanely rich, or something like that. She put that in her Instagram bio. So I was like, oh, she's actually a fan. So I DM'd her out of nowhere and I said, listen, Ava, I don't know you at all, but I'm in a really awkward situation with this guy I'm staying with right now. Is there any way you could actually just pick me up and take me to a hotel, or I'll crash at your place? I can pay you for gas, but I need to get out of this right now. It's not dangerous. I just don't want to be with somebody who's like hitting on me again. It's extremely awkward. I don't want to stay with him. So she ends up telling me, well, I have a meeting today for work, but I can pick you up at 10 p.m. or so. Give me the address. And I was like, okay. I gave her the address. Because I couldn't get an Uber. There were no Ubers at his place. And I was like, okay, I'm trying to say, like, it wasn't a dangerous situation. I just didn't want to be there. And I was like, okay, I'd rather be with a girl.
Right. But did you have any attraction at any point? Was it something that could have gone somewhere and didn't?
No, I never had any attraction to Jeremy. I think he's like a decent looking guy, but he's just totally not my thing at all. And I told him that beforehand. So really quickly, Mousy sent a super chat for $5. I'm not interesting. You talk slower than a special needs infant learning to read. You also look like a bucket of dropped cream.
Oh man, your fucking
Mapsy.
Chat is brutal.
My darling Mapsy, hit the link, buddy. Hit the link. Hit the link, my little Aussie friend.
Listen to these people.
Dan, I see you backstage. Hang on. Let me just finish telling the Seattle story. It's a good story. All right, so I have this set up with Ava. I tell my dad, I'm like, look, there's this random girl. Her name's Ava, but she messaged me on Instagram, and I'm gonna meet up with her. She said she'd pick me up. He's like, okay, that sounds fine. It's not dangerous, right? And I'm like, yeah, no, it's not dangerous. I just want to get out of this situation, and she can take me to a hotel or whatever because I can't get an Uber. So I go back to Jeremy. I don't tell him any of this stuff. I just go, I kind of feel like I have a migraine. Can we just go back to your place? And I'm just going to take a nap, and then we'll see where it goes from there. And he's like, okay. So we go back to his shed, and I'm laying there, and I think I did fall asleep for like, I don't know, a couple hours. I wake up around 8 p.m., and it's like 2 hours still until Ava's supposed to pick me up. Ava, by the way, is the girl who made the hater video that Becky used on Lolcow Queens. She is like my number one hater / documentarian. Actually, my dad's number one hater, really. But the whole reason she got into any of this stuff, Babsy, I see you backstage, 1 sec. The whole reason she got into any of this stuff was because of me. Because I met up with her.
Right. That was a last minute thing because of Jeremy?
Yeah. I had no idea who she was. She wasn't a streamer. She wasn't on YouTube at all. I just saw her Instagram, and she looked like some kind of hippie girl, and I was like, all right, well. So, 8 p.m. or so. It's 8 p.m. I wake up from my nap. Jeremy's like, hey, he comes into the room, brushes the sheet aside. He's like, hey, do you want to like watch a movie or something out in the front room? And I'm like, man, I still have like a headache. I'm so sorry. I didn't, but I just didn't want to be with him. So I was like, I think I'm just going to sit here and just let this pass. And I think I had Seinfeld on the TV in his room at the time. So I'm laying on the bed. He's by the door to the bedroom. So he goes to me, all right, well, do you mind if I hop into bed with you? And I was like,
what are you thinking?
Oh, okay. I have a headache. I would really rather not. I'm just not now. And he's like, all right. And then he goes back. So look, keep in mind the whole time there's no doors, so I don't have any privacy. Yeah. And the shed is like, a couple different rooms. So he's out in the living room, which I can't get to the door to exit the actual shed unless I go past him. He's just sitting out there watching TV the whole time I'm there. He doesn't have a job, so it's incredibly awkward.
He doesn't have a job. I thought he he claims he has a job. Wait, is this whole place a shed? I just want to understand. Is this whole house a
The whole
shed?
place is a shed. It's like a shed with like 4 rooms. There's a kitchen, a living room, 1 bedroom, and a bathroom.
Oh, okay.
So after I told him no to hopping into bed with me, I hear the front door close. He barrels off in his pickup truck, like screeching off. Okay, and I at that point I'm like, oh shit, he's pissed. I don't know what's going on because it's like 9 p.m. or so. It's dark. I'm like, where the fuck is he going? What's going on? So there was a pair of scissors on the dresser. I put the scissors in my back pocket just in case. I wasn't sure what was going on. So I grabbed a pair of scissors. I put them in my back pocket. I texted Ava. I was like, can you please, like, hurry up? I promise I'll make it worth your while. But, like, I really want to get out of here. And she's like, you know what? You should just leave. And I was like, actually, you know what? You're right. So I creep out of I push the sheet aside. I grab my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another little part of that. I grab my stuff. I push the sheet aside. I look around. I make sure that I don't, like, alert his dogs. I make sure he's gone. Then I saw my exit. So I went through the back door. He has like a gate around his entire property too, which like has like a locked like front gate too for the cars. Mm-hmm. But he left it open because he left. So I fucking run through there. I have no idea when he's coming back. I run through the front gate. I run onto the road, and I walked like a couple blocks down the road, and there was an old fire station that nobody used down the road. So I ran to the fire station, and I hid behind one of like the facets of the building. I hid behind it, so I was hidden from the main road. And at that point, I was shaking. I was like, okay, I don't know what the fuck's going on, but now, like, I don't think he's gonna find me here. I don't think he knows where I am. So I hide there. I just sit down and I texted Ava my location, and she ended up picking me up. Now, the one fatal mistake that I did make there, okay, because after Ava picked me up, I went over to her apartment. It was pretty chill. She was a nice host, I have to say, except for the fact that when she picked me up, she took me back to her place, and she let me stay in her apartment, which was nice, or her dad's apartment at the time. She let me sleep in her room, but she took a shower the night that she picked me up, and she walked out of the shower buck naked in front of me, which I wasn't expecting. Like, I had just met her, and I was like crashing in her apartment. But I don't know. Maybe that's a Seattle.
Did you get a nice look? Did you get a nice look?
I took it all in, buddy. That's not really like a girl thing. I was just like, whoa. But it was nice and trimmed. But anyways, she's just walking around naked. I was like, okay. But my fatal flaw with Jeremy was that I left. Guess what I left at his place?
Your phone? No. Your shoes. Your hat.
My wallet. I left my wallet with my ID and my ticket home at his fucking place. And when I realized that, I didn't even realize it until 2 days later. 2 days later, Ava was driving me to the airport, and he calls me, and I'm like, fuck. Okay, so I answered the call, and he's like, you left your ID and wallet at my house. Now, mind you, this is after I had publicly bashed him and basically called him a serial killer and a potential rapist on all of my streams and Discord.
Wow.
So I was like, fuck. I have no idea what, like, he could totally screw me over. I can't fly home without that.
So you already said all this stuff about him, and you had to get your wallet.
Yep.
Okay.
It was so stupid. I could have left anything else there except that. Anything fucking else. But he ended up being really, really, actually, genuinely very nice about it. He drove 40 minutes out of his way to meet me at the airport and give it to me. Luckily, I got there ahead of time, and I made my flight home. But it was the most awkward thing in the world when he pulled up at that airport, and I had to confront him and be like, okay, can I get my ID? So all he did was he sort of hugged me, and he kissed me on the forehead, and he was like, I left you a note in the wallet. You should read it on the plane. And so I did,
Oh,
I got the ID back. It was great. I got the flight back. I was very thankful. I was like, dude, I really appreciate it. You could have totally fucked me over. And the note just read something like, I think God destined both of us to get married, or something. God destined you to be
whoa,
my wife, Grace.
wow.
So
And-
that was the Jeremy story. That was the Jeremy
wow,
story.
that's pretty good. Wow. So how did you feel about that when you read that message that he wrote? Like, we're destined to be together. Is that kind of sad?
Um, I uh no, it was
Or
like,
did
I
you
don't know.
feel flattered?
Anyways,